It is the most heartbreaking of homecomings. The remains of a U.S. soldier returning in a flag-draped coffin to Dover Air Base in Delaware. It is still happening. In this coffin is the body of Mihail Golden from Fort Lee, New Jersey. He died this year. He was just 34 years old. Army Special Forces Sergeant First Class Golden is the first casualty of 2018 in a war still being waged in Afghanistan. He died in a firefight with Taliban forces. Golden grew up in Latvia, but his dream was to join the greatest fighting force in the world, the U.S. Army. Golden's family immigrated to America right after the 9/11 attacks. Golden enlisted immediately. He leaves behind a 6-year-old daughter who lives with his ex-wife in Colorado and a grieving father in Brooklyn. There was a time when we paid attention to the casualties of war. Not so much anymore. The death of Sergeant Golden got very little media attention. It seems not only is Afghanistan America's longest war, but it is the forgotten war. Maybe that's because President Obama declared the war over in 2014. December 28th, 2014 is the date officially given for the end of combat operations in Afghanistan. A few thousand troops were left behind to aid Afghan forces. Since that date, 52 Americans have been killed in combat in Afghanistan. Apparently, the Taliban didn't get the memo. The ugly truth is, the war never ended. Right now, there are 15,000 American troops in Afghanistan. In the past year, they have conducted over 2,000 combat missions. Before becoming president, Donald Trump loathed the war in Afghanistan, calling it a complete waste of time. But since becoming president, Donald Trump has sent even more troops to Afghanistan, assuring that America's longest war will continue. Just before Christmas, Vice President Mike Pence paid a surprise visit to troops in Kabul, Afghanistan, and did not bring good news.
We came here to Afghanistan to liberate its people and prevent the terrorists from ever threatening our homeland again. And we are staying in that fight, and we will see it through to the end.
That statement sums up the reason why the war in Afghanistan will now stumble into the next decade. The mission keeps changing. It was October 7th, 2001, that America and NATO began massive airstrikes in Afghanistan. The Taliban was in control, and it was giving sanctuary to 9/11 mastermind and al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. The mission at this point was a simple one: remove the Taliban from power, kill or capture Osama bin Laden, and dismantle the terror network. Well, the Taliban was removed quickly on November 21st, 2001. And Osama bin Laden was killed on May 2nd, 2011. But the nagging objective in the mission is the last one. Al-Qaeda, although depleted, still exist in numbers greater than we had hoped for, and the Taliban, now based in Pakistan, has 35,000 fighters. That is the main reason that President Trump cut off $1 billion in security aid to Pakistan. It's also the main reason we're still at war in Afghanistan.
Under President Donald Trump, the armed forces of the United States will remain engaged in Afghanistan until we eliminate the terrorist threat to our homeland, our people, once and for all.
Well, if that's true, if the new mission really is to eliminate the terrorist threat to our homeland, we may be in Afghanistan another 16 years. In the meantime, we owe it to the troops on the ground in Afghanistan to at least acknowledge that we're still at war. Over 2,000 men and women have died fighting for us in Afghanistan. Mihail Golden is just the most recent. There will be more. We need to honor each and every one of them. I'm Larry Menti. See you again next week.